Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about two neologisms, Dropshow and Cineshow. So basically, these are two new things that have just come about. And the reason they've come about are Netflix. Netflix is really changing the shape of television and the shape of movies. Some of the things that are starting to drop on Netflix, that are starting to be put onto Netflix, are so good that they're competing with films, right? So I want to define what Dropshow is, and then I'll talk about it, and then I'll move on to Cineshow. So a Dropshow is a show. It has, minimum 4 episodes, up to as many as, like as many episodes as you would, actually up to about 26 episodes, which is one season, okay? Now, a Dropshow is a television show that debuts on television or streaming, right? Generally streaming, right? And it did not have, and all of the show is dropped at once. So perfect examples of this are The Get Down, a show that premiered on Netflix, and when it was put on, all of its episodes were put on all at once. Stranger Things. This show, it was not shown live somewhere else and then sold to Netflix. For a long time, that has been the majority of content that is on Netflix, is shows that were on somewhere else. Oh, and now, in case you didn't see this, you can watch it on Netflix. Drop shows are not like that. Drop shows are, we're dropping this show right onto Netflix. Amazon Prime now does this. The one that I just watched on Amazon Prime was Sneaky Pete. Sneaky Pete was a drop show. So Sneaky Pete is an excellent show. It was dropped onto Amazon, and it was all there, and it was never anywhere else. It debuted there, right? So drop shows show up all at once, and this is a big deal because people really like this. They like to have all of it there, be able to consume it. The other thing that happens is when you have a show like Sneaky Pete, or like Stranger Things, or like The Get Down, they can become event viewing, right? And so, it's an event, and you watch it over a weekend, and you see it, and you're like, you go to work, or you go wherever, you go to see your friends, and you say, hey, I saw this show, and it was awesome. And then your friends just watch it, right? And they don't watch just the first episode, and maybe they watch the next episode next week, but they watch all of it, you know what I mean? And it's really changing the entire structure of television, and they're so good, and they can absorb a weekend so quickly, right? That they really compete with movies. So I watch a YouTube movie reviewer named Grace Randolph. I highly recommend her channel. I think she's the best movie reviewer there is, by far, without a doubt. And she said, especially in January, February, March, now when blockbusters come in, nobody's not going to see blockbusters because Netflix just dropped a new show. Not yet, right? But it's interesting, but in January, February, she was saying that there are television shows that lost market share because people were staying home to watch these drop shows, right? By the way, drop show is my term. She's never used that term. I've never heard anybody use this term. All of the neologisms I'm putting forward, they're neologisms I'm making up. I'm creating. It's the best way of saying it. So, okay, so that's a drop show. One more. So a few other things about drop shows real quick. Drop shows are, one of the things why they're such a big deal is there is, you know what? I'm just going to call it a drop show because the other thing that I'm talking about is going to bleed over into Cineshow. Let's talk about Cineshow. Cineshow is a show that has the quality of cinema, right? So I like to use the term cinema for a quality movie, right? So, I'm going to the movies, right? A good example is Dude, Where's My Car? That's a great movie, right? I love Dude, Where's My Car? I think it's really funny. I really enjoyed it. It's a movie, right? Cinema is something that's really a good movie. A good example of cinema would be Arrival, right? So cinema are good, high-quality movies. They're up for awards. They have, major actors and actresses in them. Cinema, right? A show, so a Cineshow is a show that goes on to television that is of the quality of cinema and generally has the same budget, right? So some examples of Cineshows are The Get Down. The Get Down had Jimmy Smits in it, right? He is a movie actor. He certainly does do some work in television, but he does a lot of work in films as well, right? In addition to that, Sneaky Pete stars Giovanni Ribisi. He is a cinema actor, right? He's a very, very good high-end movie star, right? Now, actually, I think his day as a movie star is starting to tip more toward the television era. He's still fantastic. He's just one of the best actors out there. I really am a huge fan of his work. I'm sorry that didn't want to be dismissive of Giovanni Ribisi. I'm actually a massive fan of his work. So so there's that. And then the other one is Stranger Things. Stranger Things only had one movie star in it, and honestly, from a star perspective, it might be hard to say that that Stranger Things is a Cineshow, but you can tell a Cineshow not just by the actors and actresses who are in it, but by the level of seriousness that the script has taken, the level of seriousness about the whole milieu, right? So Stranger Things is absolutely a Cineshow. It did have Winona Ryder. I consider Winona Ryder a TV star. She's not in a lot I consider Winona Ryder a movie star. She's not in a lot of movies anymore, and she really never was in a lot of movies. She was in a few, right? But the ones she was in were amazing. The Crucible, Heathers, Star Trek. There's quite a few, and she was really good in these films, right? And she's a movie star. But in addition to being a movie star, I really like how Winona Ryder is actually the way Stranger Things, the way it approached its story. The whole thing was done in the theme of the 80s. And there was a lot of time and money spent to make it look like the 80s. And it was an homage to Steven Spielberg films. Excuse me. And that's an important. And if you look at the film, the way it's shot, it has unique camera angles. It has really unique use of color. It has a theme, right? It's not just like, hey, here's the script, let's shoot this, right? There was a lot of care and attention put into this, the way you would see in a cinema film, right? So in cinema, right? And so those are my two terms. You have Dropshow, which will drop on you like a drop bear, right? And you have Cineshow, which is a show that has the quality of cinema. And the reason why I'm bringing these neologisms forward is, two of the shows I talked about, The Get Down and Stranger Things. These came from Netflix, but I just watched Sneaky Pete, and Sneaky Pete is a drop show, and it is a Cineshow, and it is 100% in the structure of Netflix, right? And because of that, basically it's clear to me that the drop show Cineshow model is spreading, right? And then I think you're going to start to see drop shows on like CBS.com or or things like that, right? And it is disruptive. It is highly disruptive because for a long time, television put on shows, and those shows got ad revenue from these shows just generating ads week after week. And now there's this really different model where you subscribe to a particular format, and then you get these amazing shows that just drop, and they're incredible, right? There's another drop show. Here's a perfect example of, I've been trying to think, what is a drop show that's not a Cineshow? Or maybe what's a Cineshow that's not a drop show, right? So just so people are aware, The Walking Dead. I watch The Walking Dead on Netflix every time it drops, right? So I've watched The Walking Dead, but I've never watched it on television, right? And so basically, the Netflix, that show drops on The Walking Dead, drops onto Netflix. All the episodes are there, and you can watch it. It is not a drop show, and the reason why is it debuted somewhere else, right? Now, a perfect example of a drop show that is not a Cineshow, right, is, and I say this with love, is Voltron Legendary Defender. This was a fantastic drop show. It's had 2 seasons. And also, just to explain to you how incredibly important drop shows are. So I watched the drop show, Voltron Legendary Defender, Season 1. It was so good. When I was done watching that, I was so happy with my Netflix subscription that I was just bubbling over. Like, you know, Netflix is an incredible value, right? You pay a certain amount. It's like $10 a month for streaming. It's super cheap, and especially for what you get, and you just get so much, right? I really, really love that show. But let's be clear, Voltron Legendary Defender, that is in the style of a Saturday morning cartoon. It is not cinema. It's just not, right? Now, to tell the truth, a lot of these shows have multi-million-dollar budgets. Drop shows and Cineshows usually have multi-million, like single millions, tens millions, sometimes over $100 million, right? The Crown was a drop show on Netflix, right? They spent $120 million on that show. Like, it cost a fortune, right? But Voltron Legendary Defender is a drop show, but not a Cineshow. Now, to talk about the importance of drop shows, let's talk about Voltron Legendary Defender Season 2, right? I was amazed. Okay, so it actually got political, right? So I want to make this as bipartisan as possible. Trump came into office on January 20th, right? A lot of people were upset about this. And really upset. People were going onto Facebook and just spewing anger and sorrow and, a whole bunch of stuff, right? And people were upset, right? It was crazy. And then a lot of people were going on Facebook and saying, oh, I remember when Facebook used to be fun. Now it's just a bunch of politics, right? I've been feeling that a little bit. Like, it is sorrowful going on Facebook, right? Recently, just because there's so many people fighting, right? But just to show you the importance of a drop show, Voltron Legendary Defender was released on the day when President Trump was inaugurated. And I was like, holy cows, that's crazy, right? And the reason why is I actually think Netflix was like, hey, this is going to be a hard day. It was an incredibly difficult election. And I really am trying to stay bipartisan here. In that, I don't think it can be debated that election was stressful for the American people, right? And so basically, they use this drop show as almost like a distraction for the nation. Now, many people don't watch Voltron Legendary Defender, but there were a lot of people who this is a bit of solace on a hard day. And so it's just really amazing to me how powerful these drop shows are, how much they're changing our culture, how much they're changing television, how much they're impacting movies. It's really it's a pretty amazing new sweep. So that is drop shows and Cineshows. Thank you.